In your opinion, will this new coalition last? And is Netanyahu politically finished, as some are speculating?
Well, first of all, it's not completely over yet. There's still going to be about a week to 12 days until the government is fully put together. And if things stay exactly the same way that they are right now, which they could, then Netanyahu is done for now. Of course, he could run again and run for the head of his Likud party again to represent them in the next elections. Or in the next week or so, all Netanyahu needs to do is peel away just one person from any of the coalition that's forming, because it's it's a 61 to 59 type of split to create this majority right now. So all Netanyahu needs is to get one person to make a promise that if he were to join his government instead, that could make the next government split. Netanyahu is still going to be the longest serving Israeli prime minister since the modern founding of the country. He has done an incredible job really wading through a very difficult set of foreign policy circumstances, not to mention the entire Obama administration, which was a frosty relationship, to say the very least.
Yeah, especially when we saw all the concessions that Obama was giving to Iran, and how that Iran now is just breathing down Israel's throat. We're seeing that once again right now with Biden in power, and he's empowering Iran. Not a good place, therefore, for Israel, now caught in between, as you said, frosty relations with the U.S. and what we're doing with Iran. But when we look at this coalition that's trying to bump Bibi Netanyahu's coalition out of power right now, or at least into the more of the minority status, it includes an Arab Islamist party with some Muslim Brotherhood perhaps ideologies. Talk to us a little bit about that, what implications that could mean.
Okay, so this is the first time that one of the Arab or Muslim parties ran and decided to be included in the government. They have formed, the Arab parties have formed different lists and have run, but have always said, we don't want to be involved in actually ruling because then we'd be going against our Palestinian brethren in the West Bank and Gaza. This time you have a leader who said, you know, what I really want to do is to look after my constituents, make sure that there are good roads, that there's good social services. So to the extent that that is what he's looking to do, that's good from an Israeli perspective, if you understand that there is an Arab population, a Muslim population there, and they have a right to run as they do and to serve in the Knesset and even in the Supreme Court as they are now. It's a matter of making sure that they, of course, stick to that, to a specific I would say, program or platform, as opposed to some global Islamist type of program, which is something that clearly wouldn't work with the majority of Israelis. And as for the durability of this type of coalition, it's almost like having a car, but with 4 different size tires spinning in opposite directions. So it's hard to see how, when the first crisis comes up, say there are missiles coming from Hamas in Gaza, what's this Islamist party going to do? Are they going to be behind Israel having a strong response with a far left and far right and everything in between represented here? There's any number of issues that could force or make a coalition partner decide, you know what, I'm out, I'm done. That's what brings on another set of elections. So the only thing they had in common was that they wanted to get rid of Netanyahu. Okay, well, now they climbed that hill and they're at the top. They're going to have to come up with some durable platform if they're going to have any staying power.
And I have it on good authority, joking obviously, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and some of the other far left we have in the U.S., they're telling us, you know, and like I said, they're assuring us on good authority that Israel, it's an apartheid state, that they're conducting an ethnic cleansing. That's what we're hearing all the time from the far left here in the U.S. And yet, what we're talking about here with this coalition, that seems to dismantle what it's saying. How does this coalition blast apart the narrative of Israel being an apartheid state?
See, it was always an absurd notion that progressives have been arguing that Israel is an apartheid state. As I said, Arabs have been serving in the Supreme Court. They can run in elections. It's been a matter of whether they decide to how much they would like to participate. But they're there. They have all the same professions as Jews have there. So it's always been an absurd thing. In fact, it's interesting because I've been talking to friends from the United Arab Emirates who recently, as part of the Abraham Accords, normalized and made peace with Israel. So they obviously, a few years ago, made the Muslim Brotherhood illegal, and they're calling me and saying, "What is this? How is Israel having them in a party?" Well, that's how a democracy functions. Of course, Israel's a Jewish state, so that is what I think progressives are going to still argue about, is that they want there to get rid of the Jewish character, and that's just an unfortunate thing because obviously there's only one Jewish state, plenty of Muslim states, and lots of Christian states, so this is Israel's one country. So I'm sure they'll still find something to argue about. It really shows that it's never about what it is that they see. These people, these progressives like Tlaib, they really just don't like Jews, and they just substitute Israel for the word Jews in a lot of their rhetoric.